coming back to my channel. So today's demonstration is I want to go ahead and say an exciting one, but I think I've said it for the past two ones, but it is exciting. Okay, so we are going to be doing something similar to that swatch here. Now it looks a little bit like it's been embellished, almost like it's been embroidered over the knit, which is what I really like about it. So I have pressed the swatch slightly flat. However, if you were to just leave it on its own without pressing it too much, it kind of creates a bumpy texture. So I'm going to run you through this end of it and that bit here. The center little technique there is going to be coming up on my one of my patterns that I'll be selling. So as of now, we're going to be learning bottom and the top bit, but again, you can really take the technique and try a few different combinations. So I'm going to be using my favorite yet again, which is a tape yarn. Again, you can go ahead and use any, but it really works well with a chunkier yarn. Okay, so I've gone ahead and casted on a few needles. So I don't think it really matters how many needles you've got on your bed, but I've got about 30, I think, and my tension is currently on 5. So I've knitted a few rows and I'm going to dive into the technique. Okay, so all I'm going to do is push forward a selection of needles that I'd like to work on. Okay, so I am going to start with the edge. So I've got these needles pushed out and I'm going to push these needles slightly over to the back where the stitches lay just beyond the latch. So this is the elongated stitch, and now I do have a tutorial on the stitch if you do want to go back and have a look at it, but the swatch is slightly different. However, it's the same technique. So again, if you know how to do the stitch, you'd find this one quite easy because it's just sort of a variation really. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my yarn over the needles, okay, with the latches open. Make sure that your latches are all open and pull it right through to the back of the bed. Okay, now I'm only doing the elongated stitch on a selection of needles. I'm not doing it all over, and that is what creates that sort of like lovely uneven texture. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pushed it all the way to the back of the bed, and I'm going to weigh this down, and now you can see that obviously this section is a lot longer than that one. And I'm going to go ahead and knit. And then I'm going to sort of repeat the process in a very random manner. So you can plan it, okay? But I am doing a really random pattern at the moment. I've not planned it. So depending on what you do, your outcome will obviously be different. Now I've laid the pink tape this time, and I'm just repeating the stitch again. So I'm pulling it right to the back of the bed into non-working position. I have dropped a stitch, so I'm just going to pick that up. I think I've been dropping stitches in all of my demonstrations. Probably a little bit embarrassing. Okay, so go ahead and pull it to non-working position and weigh the knit down. Go ahead and knit. So I'm just going to do a few. I think it would look really good if you combine this technique with hand embroidery. I think you could get some really, really good texture. So I've done a few rows and you can see what's starting to happen there. So this technique is basically just that. I think, again, depending on the yarns you use, you would get a different effect or outcome, I would say. So I do have another yarn that I've picked out, so if I just finish this off, I will show you another one. But again, with this yarn, because it's a lot chunkier than the base is 4-ply cotton, by the way, forgot to mention. If you use chunky yarns, this tape one is quite like when you take the swatch off, it's quite close. The stitches are quite close to each other, and that's what makes it look quite embellished. So I think, again, depending on the yarns you use, it could look a bit spaced out. So I'm going to now use a viscose. So I am using this fine viscose, but I'm going to ply it up. So I'm going to double end it. And just repeat the same, really. I actually haven't tried this yarn with this technique, so I'm actually as curious as you are to see what it looks like. You can hang weights underneath here to hold these stitches down. The other thing you can actually use is cut up strips of fabric, but again, just remember that it can't be too thick because it still needs to go through the needles, so you can definitely experiment. I think that's looking quite good. It's quite open, and in comparison to tape. So I'm just cutting up these ends and reusing the yarn, but again, you can just leave the floats in the back. I don't think it shows through as much. I've dropped a stitch yet again. To take that swatch off just so you can have a look at what it looks like. I do have this lovely boucle yarn that I've used on this, I think I've used it on the chunky gauge actually, but I just realised that would actually look quite nice on this technique. Right, okay, so let's take that off. And that's the outcome. So you can see what I meant when it looks a little bit bumpy, especially the fine yarn actually. That hasn't been pressed obviously, but if you press it down, it looks a bit closer to each other, the stitches do. I'm not sure what that will look like because I haven't actually tested it out, but again, depending on the pattern that you do, depending on how you plan your layout, it could look really good. Again, embroidering it over the knit would also look really, really good, I can imagine. Well, I know that was a really short video, but I think it was actually definitely a great technique. I have done some variations of the swatches which will be available as patterns that you can buy off my website. I will let you know when they are released. I hope you enjoyed that demonstration, and I will see you next time. Subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram, forgot to say that. But yes, I'll see you next time with another technique. See you, bye.